All righty, I believe we are all the way live, not on Instagram with AJ doing hard trivia, but we are on Grande's Graveyard. Hello and welcome. I am the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass, always taking names and kicking candy ass, live in Little Color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And today I welcome a very special guest. I've wanted to have this man on the show for a very long time. In some aspects, he would be known as a godfather of gore, but today he is simply known as the legendary AJ Zetro. What's going on, my good buddy?
How's it going, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful now that we are on the graveyard together. This has been a long goddamn time coming. I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Grande, the heir to the Nachos Bel Grande fortune. Thanks for having me.
Compensation. I want compensation every time somebody orders that shit. Compensate me. I can retire tomorrow.
Cool, man. Oh, I'm ready to talk, and you know you're gonna have to probably shut me up because there's a lot up here, you know, from way back in the day. So, and I wanted to do this special for you. I know I know you don't drink, right?
Yeah, I don't drink.
Okay. For this though, I got this special just for tonight. Opposite. There you go. Cherry cola.
Cherry cola. Yo, what?
Just for you, man.
I've never heard of that brand. What is that brand, man?
Hell, I don't even know. But I've had this before. I got to get used to the opposite thing, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
There you go. Craft soda. So
looks like Yogi Bear ripoff. Yo, cheers to you, good brother. I love it. Little cherry cola on the graveyard. Always a very preferred drink, man. Always very preferred.
That's good. That's good. I'll give you the info about it when later on.
Yeah, you gotta give me the deets because I'm gonna import that shit, you know, all the way to NYC, baby. But yeah, I've been wanting to have AJ on for a while. AJ is just the coolest guy. He's on Instagram. Follow him, AJ Zetro. What's the rest of your name?
1975. That's the year I was born.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a number. I didn't want to butcher the number. But yes, AJ is great horror content. He does these live trivia things that I got so addicted to. I actually went out and bought the game for myself. You know, it's super fun, you know, talking horror with him all the time. And, you know, today we want to discuss horror movie childhood memories, and that's going to be the bulk, the meat and potatoes of the show. But before we get into that, I figure I give our guests, my guest, a little bit of a getting to know you portion, if that's cool for the listeners and the followers of me. I just had a couple questions for you, if you're down with that.
Me? You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Okay. Bring it.
Yes, bring it. All right, question for you, my good friend. What was the horror movie, the character, the anything that got you into the genre of horror?
Wow. I mean, there's a good little chunk there, but I'd probably have to say Michael Myers.
The Shape.
When I saw that, first time I saw that, I was a little kid, and it was, I think, the premiere of Halloween. If you look on YouTube, you'll see the NBC premiere of. I'm pretty sure I saw that on an old little black and white TV when I was a kid, probably 5-6 years old, and and of course he scared the shit out of me as a kid, but you know, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Michael Myers. That was probably my first thing that got me into it. I'm like, well, it's giving me nightmares. But I'll go again. My mom was into like, let him learn. You know, let him keep having nightmares. He'll figure it out. Well, I kept having nightmares, and I kept going back for more.
Like a true gorehound always does. They always come back for a little bit more because we're never quite, you know, quenched for our thirst, if you will. And, you know, that's funny. Michael Myers is definitely one of the things that when I was a kid got me into horror. I actually, to this day, I have the VHS of Halloween Part 2 that I would rent from this Hollywood video. I rented it so many times, they were like, here, just buy it already. So fucking gave it to me to take home and have. I still have it on the rack over there. And it still has the Hollywood Video tag on it. It's like one of my favorite. It's definitely one of the things that got me into it. Is just the character and the mystique behind the devil's eyes, the blackest eyes, all that stuff. I mean, that stuff really hooks you in. And I love how your mom kind of let you sink or swim on that, man. Like, you know,
right?
You having nightmares? Like, let them watch a little bit.
You're gonna have nightmares. I don't care. Yeah. So yeah, that had to. I mean, that's. I have a chunk of like memories from when I was a kid. They're all around the same time, like 81, 80, 81, 82. So there was a lot of good stuff that came out.
I couldn't imagine because, you know, like when I was probably around that, maybe, you know, 9 or 10 years old. So when I'm 9 or 10 years old, it's like Saw and Hostel are coming out. So I can only imagine how much cooler your childhood probably was compared to mine with the new releases.
Yeah. Really making me feel old.
Well, hey, I'm dating myself too. I mean, shit. Like, Hostel was a new movie when I was fucking in elementary school. So I'm, you know.
I bet all your TVs had color when you were a kid, right?
They did. They did. But I will say that I'm old school too. I mean, I still to this day have a VHS player. I still to this day have VHSs. I have a whole thing of VHSs to my right here. I just pulled. Look at that son of a bitch. Dumbo. Oh. Big box. Gotta love it.
Yeah, there you go.
Who needs
Put it on eBay?
Plus?
Put it on eBay.
Oh my God, I probably should. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'm an avid VHS guy. Like I love it. You know, I'm old school like that. But yeah, and I still hoard like old school TVs and stuff like that. Like I'm totally as old school as it gets, even though I guess technically I'm a part of the new school, but I don't know. It is what it is, brother. You know what I mean?
Are you Laserdisc old like me?
No, I am not Laserdisc old. I actually never ever have even seen a Laserdisc player. How about that?
Oh, really?
In person, I've seen them on the internet.
Yeah, I have some. I actually I framed a couple because, you know, why not?
yeah, why not for sure. Did you as old as gaming stations go? I go back to like N64 is probably the first one I ever had.
Wow.
How old? What was like the first? Were you like an Atari guy or?
Yeah, Atari.
Wow.
Atari on a black and white TV.
Wow.
Probably about this big, the screen.
Little, yeah. I had my bedroom is like a closet. It's really tiny, especially for someone who's over 6 foot tall. And like I had this little TV in there like that too. Yeah, I'm 6 foot. Yeah, I'm a little over 6 foot.
Are you really?
Yeah. I know. I don't look as tall on YouTube.
Well, that matters because there's been people where I've never met before, and I've walked right past them because I didn't, you know, I don't know how tall they are, and that really helps if you know if it's like 5'7" or 6'7", you know. Yeah. So if I walk past you, and I might be like, oh well,
you walk right past me. Yeah.
But if you're like up here, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The horror boy, he's like 6'5". I didn't even know that. I'm like, there's no goddamn way. And then he posted a picture of him with his family, and he's like taller than all of them. I was like, holy shit. Like,
so from now on, whenever I meet somebody or talk to somebody, like, how tall are you? It may sound weird, but it'll really help because there's been times when I didn't even know that someone's like standing. I'm like, oh, I thought you were a lot taller or a lot shorter. So
yeah, it's weird, especially with people you meet online. Like I don't know.
I would have probably guessed maybe, you know, under 6 feet for you. So what are you, like 6'1", 6'2", or what?
Yeah, I'm about 6'1". So I always say over 6 foot, so it sounds more intimidating, but you know, it's about 6'1". So I'm not that badass.
From parts unknown.
From Death Valley, weighing 299. The Undertaker.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I'm a man of mystery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I feel you. But I had another question for you. When it comes to the current state of horror movies, so horror movies that are currently coming out in the, you know, obviously there's no theaters right now, but the current state. How do you feel about it? Are you lukewarm on it? Are you a Blumhouse guy? Are you an artsy A24 guy? Like, is there a certain genre you lead to, or do you still kind of kick it old school like me?
There's a ton of movies from like the last 2 or 3 years that I haven't seen yet. I would probably rather watch Evil Dead or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Friday the 13th Part 3 and 4 for the 100th time than go see something new. But there has been some newer stuff I did like, but it seems like so much stuff is remakes and revamps and redos and rethoughts or whatever the hell you want to call it. So, I'm old school, I guess, for sure. But yeah, I'm behind for sure. I finally saw, what was it? Hereditary, probably a month or two ago. And I think I fell asleep. Yeah. I would definitely stick with the old school. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
I don't buy new movies unless it's something I've seen and really like, and there's not a whole lot of stuff that I find like I showed you before the Phantasm, box set before I buy a brand new Blu-ray of anything that's come out in the last year. So that's just me though.
Yeah, I know. And what do you think exactly is the disconnect for you? Because I definitely could explain my disconnect too. Do you think that horror movies like the original Blumhouse movies, do you think that they're too cheesy? What do you think that the old films have? Like, because I'm in the same boat as you, man. Like, I will watch Evil Dead 100 times before I want to go watch Truth or Dare or Slender Man or The Bye Bye Man. Like, I feel like a lot of these newer movies, they just don't have that oomph to them anymore, and they don't have that word of mouth buzz anymore. Really, it seems like the critics really dictate what we go to see or not. And I don't know. That kind of just disheartens me. But what is it for you that, like, are they too artsy? Are they too cheesy? Is there a certain, like, what is the main disconnect for you?
Probably that we've probably seen it all at this point, and I don't know. I think I just try to hold on to my childhood. I don't know, because I'd rather watch. I don't know. Even know. It's hard to pinpoint, but probably because, it's just like you remember the first time you saw these old movies when you were a kid, and it kind of stuck with you, and then you're an older person now. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that before. Okay, here comes a jump scare. Okay, well, I know what's going to happen here. It's like,
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't want to say boring, because there's been a few good ones. There's a couple like newer movies on Netflix or stuff that's come out that like a diamond in the rough type of thing. So, that was a pretty. I can't even. I wish I could think of a couple off the top of my head, but some of the redos were pretty good. Like, I really like the Evil Dead, whatever the hell you want to call it. That was really cool. But like, Poltergeist and the Nightmare on Elm Street, garbage.
The Poltergeist. Oh, the Poltergeist.
I saw it for free, so I didn't mind it too much if I paid for it. But, or even, have you seen 3 from Hell yet?
I have, yes.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Honestly, we talked about it a little bit. I thought, well, while I thought it was unnecessary, I thought it was fine. Like, it's nowhere near as good as Devil's Rejects or House 1000 Corpses, but it's not a movie I left saying, oh my God, like, this is horrible. I've seen a lot worse, I guess. Like, I don't know if you've seen Midsummer, but that's another one. I left and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I fucking can't do this. Like, I shook my head leaving the theater.
Underwhelmed?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a visually stunning movie, but it just completely misses, I think, what a movie like The Wicker Man, the original The Wicker Man, has. Like, that to me is how you do that type of movie. And I don't mind if they homage it or whatever, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's like they always are missing that oomph that I think will make or break these movies. Like that Evil Dead remake. I loved the gore in the film. It was fucking crazy. That girl chopping off her arm, and I was like, this is something that fucking Sam Raimi would have done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that entire the Blood Rain finale. I mean, that's Evil Dead. It wasn't
Right.
as campy, but at the end of the day, I think that had elements, and that's why people liked it more than not. But I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of these new films, they don't have these elements. They're just almost for the sake of it. And I don't know. It's just kind of, as a fan, it's hard to really back a lot of it because how can I back a movie called The fucking Bye Bye Man? Like, how can I do that? Like, I don't
It's
know.
like they have a checklist and they just want to make sure they go down the list and check every box.
Yeah.
And the goddamn the new Halloween.
Well,
I don't know if we talked about that or not. What are your thoughts on
I don't like
last
the new
Halloween?
Halloween. I didn't like it.
No.
Too many off-screen kills. Absolute ridiculous to forget all the other movies. To me, you can't have the first one without the second one with Halloween. I like more of the night he came home and killing the entire staff in the hospital. That, I mean, I will talk about that when Meat and Potatoes. That was a part of my childhood. That movie, I love, love, love. To this day, it's my favorite Halloween movie. You can't just write that off to me and then go, oh well, Judy Greer and now, no, I'm so, like, I'm good on that, man. But what did you think?
And there was so many parts that were like, I think they were trying to do an homage.
Yeah.
But it was just like rehash and when we saw it, we were kind of looking. Me and my wife was looking at each other like, well, okay.
Yeah.
The kills you did see were okay. What's his face? Codray, however you say his name, as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He was
Courtney.
good. The Michael looked cool, I thought. But I'm like, God damn, it just didn't need it. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I'll do the Rob Zombie one.
So me too. It made me appreciate the Rob Zombie one better, and I think a lot of people, they hated that one so much that all they wanted was rehash. They were like, "I will settle for rehash as long as it's not Rob Zombie." And I think they can have that opinion, but at the end of the day, I mean, at least he fucking tried to do something else with it. I don't know. That new movie, it just didn't do it for me, man. I don't know. It just really wasn't my cup of tea. Aiden Vavra's in the Heezy. What's going on, buddy? He also doesn't like Halloween. He thinks Halloween was better. Go. But he does like It Follows. I agree. I like that one. I don't know if you've seen that.
All right. Yeah. That was okay.
Little sexually transmitted monster.
Yeah. Or Void.
The Void, yep. I like that one.
Yeah, that was good. I like that one. And the House of the Devil, that was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to stop doing like just stop.
Yeah. And even the good ones, man, they're just too and far between,
Yeah. I would pay $10 to go see an old movie in the theater, Prom Night or Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever. I'd rather go watch that on the big screen, the original one, than whatever the hell they're trying to do now. So that's what I do. I watch my TV at home.
I'm completely with you. I'm just like, I'm at the point now where I don't really get that much excited anymore. Like, there's a couple independent ones, but I usually end up watching them on, video on demand. So that's it. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
but I'm going to say like the last half dozen or whatever, 10 that came to the theater, I didn't even go see them,
Me neither. And the theaters were closing down at that point. We didn't rush out to the theaters. So if that doesn't say something, I don't know what else will at this point, but I don't know, man. I hope honest to God, that they can turn it around. I don't think a reboot is going to do that. Financially it will, but we need that next movie to just take over and make noise again, man. I really think that's what the genre needs, but when that will happen, beats me, man.
Well, the younger generation, this be you, when you have kids one day, that's what first you start them off with Universal monsters. Okay. Then you work your way up as they get older, then the more mature stuff. And then you don't tell them about the revamps or the redos or any of that crap. You start, that's the right path to take. So show them the classics and just forget the other stuff.
100%. You got to steer them straight, man. It's all about,
Right.
the next generation than the youth, But speaking of youth, this is a good segue to get into the meat and potatoes of our show. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's smooth as a fucking. We didn't plan that at
See?
all, but it worked.
No, I did that on purpose.
Totally. It's in his notes. He wrote it down. He planned this meticulously. But yeah, so I figure we get into the meat and potatoes and talk about some of our childhood horror movie memories. Guest goes first as always, my friend. So tell me, give me, it doesn't have to be your top right off the bat, but give me an awesome childhood horror movie memory, man.
Well, there's several, because like I said, I was 80, 81, 82. I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I figured out that's seems to be the years where like shit really sticks. I can remember stuff from like when I was 5 or 6, but from like 5 or 6 days ago. But it was probably like one of my very earliest memories was probably, it was either Terror Train and that Groucho mask gave me nightmares, or it was Prom Night on TV, because they were both around the same time, and I remember seeing Prom Night, and the killers are coming. That scared the shit out of me, and that was like kind of a talk on the schoolyard. So probably, it was probably a tie between Prom Night and Terror Train were like I'm going to say the first two things I saw, like 5, 6 years old, 80, 81, somewhere around there. 81, probably on TV, or, that just made a mark in my head. And, Mom just let him keep watching. Let him keep watching. He'll stop. He'll have enough nightmares. Well, I had nightmares all the time, and no, it didn't stop me. It made me stronger.
Yes, of course it made you stronger. I love that it's the two, and so far all three of those star the legendary Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis. I've heard of her. I've heard her name once or twice. But dude,
and then Halloween was in there too somewhere when it premiered on NBC, my little black and white TV when I was a kid. So there was like, oh man. So I think I just figured that Jamie Lee Curtis was in every horror movie back then.
I'm gonna say that, man. Like that's absolutely crazy. She almost basically raised you, like, oh, it's this bitch again. Like, all right, now they got her on a train. Like
I was little, what's his name? Tommy, like little the Neutron Man. That was me. Like
Tarantula Man.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. So I'm like, there's a horror movie, and there's a Jamie Lee Curtis in there. Why not? Well.
Oh, that is so
yeah,
cool.
It was probably probably those three, I guess.
That is awesome, man. And it's funny. I actually can relate because I remember watching Prom Night growing up too, and it's the scene towards where you find out basically what happens. I guess I want to spoil it, but at the same time, I don't want to spoil for people who haven't seen it. Like
dude, it's been 40 years. I don't think you're spoiling it. Fucking movie's 40 years old. If you haven't seen it in 40 years. That's their own fault.
And if they've seen the Prom Night remake, shame on you.
Yeah, well, you can watch it afterwards. You watch the original first with the disco slasher, So
and the song Prom Night, everything is all right. Oh my God, that's one of those that will get stuck in your head, and you will absolutely you'll become annoyed at yourself. You're like, oh my God, like any other song.
Used it. Yeah.
It's so brutal, man.
Yeah, so those were a good couple years, and now, I'll bounce it back to you, and then we'll get into more old stuff.
Oh, 100%, man. I love it. That's awesome that you were kind of into those and all the Jamie Lee Curtis slashers. That's really cool to hear. And with me, I told this story, I believe, on the very first episode of Grande's Graveyard, but it's always nice to delve right back down memory lane. And I actually went to my grandmother's house every summer. We'd go for a couple weeks, and I'm 6 or 7 years old, and they had this really ratchet video store And I swear to you, man, the reason I'm a horror fan is because of that video store. It was called 48 Hours. And no, Nick
Nice.
Nolte and Eddie Murphy weren't in it, but it was 48 Hours. Yeah. We were in this video store, and I'd go up and down the horror section as a kid, and I was just the covers mesmerized me, man. Like I can remember the Carrie remake, the Angela Bettis one. Seeing the cover of that, they had that poster in the window, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And my dad was like, "She's covered in pig's blood." I was like, "What?" Like hearing that through a 6-year-old's ears and not seeing the movie, I was like, "What the fuck? Why?" You know? And I rented the original Friday 13th on VHS tape.
Wow.
And I remember taking it to my grandmother's house. I put it in the VCR, and I watched the film by myself. And I had no preconceived notions of Jason. I had no preconceived anything. I just knew that there was a lot of buzz around these Friday 13th movies. And it was the summertime. I just absolutely fell in love with it. I loved the pick them off one by one. I loved the pace. I loved the characters. I loved the twist ending with, did you know that a young boy drowned? As a kid, and I cheered as a kid when they decapitate. Oh my God, I love the Fulci shirt, by the way. I cheered as a kid as they decapitated her. I remember being a kid just being like, wow, like holy shit. And she's grabbing, and I was like, oh my God. I'm running in circles in my house, and I remember being like, I gotta get part 2, And that's
did you
basically.
Did you notice the hairy knuckles? Tasso's
yes!
hairy knuckles?
Tasso. God love Tasso. And he also was the famous under the bed. He's grabs Kevin Bacon and blows the blood out through his neck.
Yeah.
Tasso's the man. Tasso is. I want to meet Tasso one day.
Yeah, he should do cons, right?
He probably. I would actually want to meet him because like that movie and his influence on that movie, I guess, is one of the biggest reasons why I fell in love with it. I remember in part 2, part 3, I fell down the Friday 13th rabbit hole, and I was just off to the races from there, man. It was just one of those magical moments where I saw this movie, and I still to this day, there's a part of me that loves the first Friday the 13th the best. Like, I'll be honest, I like some of the sequels more now, but that first one will always have a special place in my heart because I'll never, ever forget that memory of just being mind blown by the entire film. It really, it's a powerful movie. I know it doesn't get, it's, for whatever reason, I feel like a lot of people say it's overrated now, but man, for me, that's one of the most important movies ever made for sure.
Yeah, because you were young and that was molding the grande.
Molding my craft.
Yeah, that's cool. Speaking of like renting videos, for some reason, I don't know why, like I said before, I can't remember what happened yesterday, but the first 2 movies we ever rented was probably, we got into the whole renting videos late in the game. Just didn't have money for stuff like that. First 2 movies we ever rented, I remember Evil That Men Do, Charles Bronson, and Pieces.
Oh shit!
80, it was probably 84 for the first time we got a VCR. I don't know why I remember that. I'm like, Pieces. Like, yeah, this looks good, Ma. And my mom and dad were never really too big on like me seeing gore, and but like nudity was the thing. So if nudity came up, I got like that or turn it off. But if someone got their head sawed in half, you're like, oh, okay, that's fine.
That's fine. You want some Cheetos?
Yeah, right. And I turned out okay.
Yeah, you turned out just fine.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no nudity, but death is okay. So all right, that's fine. That carries over enough. Like, I'll be watching something and it'll be a 90-minute movie. It'll be 88.5 minutes of just gore and death and blood and guts, and then that minute and a half where something comes on, someone will walk in. I'll be like, like what are you watching? A horror. I swear, it's horror.
Yes.
Sure, okay.
How many times did that happen to you as a kid where you'll be watching a horror movie for 90% of the time you're fine, and somebody like my grandma or my sister or someone will walk in and be like, Are you watching pornography? I'm like, no,
Yes.
my
No.
man's just having sex. Jason's going to kill him. He's got to have one last moment of pleasure.
Trust me, watch. They're going to get impaled. Watch. Just watch. Trust me. Please die soon. Yeah. I don't want to think I'm a pervert. Only I'm supposed to know I'm a pervert.
They're going to get impaled. I promise.
Yeah, right. I swear to God, watch 5 more seconds and they get kicked off. So
that happened to me so many fucking times.
But hearing you say the remake of Carrie just makes me feel old, man.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. That's one of the images I will always remember, like seeing that. And people, I know a lot of people hate that TV Carrie movie remake, and that's fine. I like it just because maybe because I watched it first when I was so young and I just was into it. But that poster is like, I think one day I'll have to buy that poster just because like it was instrumental. I'll never forget. I'll just nudge my dad. I was like, why is that girl covered in blood in the dress? And he was like, that's pig's blood. You know, he had seen the original and he was like, you know, and I was like, I got to see this, you know, and I saw them both and I thought they were both really good. So I was always a big fan.
I didn't bother with either one. Is that the one with what's her face from May?
Yeah. Angela Bettis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I watched either one of them. What was the other one? Chloe Martz, whatever.
Oh my God. The Chloe Grace Moretz one's a piece of shit, but the Angela Bettis one I think is pretty good personally. She's good. If I know you've seen May, right? Yeah, so May is basically a very similar character to the Carrie character, only without the telekinesis, I guess. So, you know, she plays the role really good, and it's a good flick. And I thought all the bullies around her, like the bullies in the film, they really stood out. And Patricia Clarkson played the mother. Like that's one I remember as a kid. I loved that. I love that and the original. I even like The Rage Part 2. That's how, you know, I'll date myself a little bit. I liked that. I saw that as a kid. I liked it. I didn't even care.
I always forget if I think I did like that one. I can't remember if it was Prom Night 2 or Carrie 2 that I would thought was.
I love Prom Night 2. Mary Lou.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I liked that one better than Carrie 2.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know it may be my turn, but I know that you have an awesome I Spit on Your Grave memory here that you've told me exclusively via text. If you're comfortable to tell it on the graveyard, that is one of my favorite stories of all time. If please give us the honor of telling us this story because this is a classic story.
Back in you'll have to look it up. It was probably 80 or 81. They released it in the theater. I Spit on Your Grave. Mm-hmm. You know, and you had no way of knowing what the hell you're going to see. You know, so my parents thought it'd be a good idea to go see this. And anyone that's seen the movie knows how just fucking rough and brutal the movie is. Oh. Needless to say, I spent a good probably 80% of the movie like this with my mom's hand over or there was a few times being taken out outside in the lobby by either my mom or my dad. And I'm like, just think if someone did that now. But you don't know. You just see a quick, probably TV spot, rated R, and they probably just figured, oh, it's probably just a horror movie.
Yeah,
it's a lot worse than a horror movie. So yeah. My mom, me and my mom and my dad watched I Spit on Your Grave in the theater, and that was probably 5 or 6, and they'd probably be arrested now. But it was a different time back then. So yeah. So it's a hard one just to talk because I know you're talking about doing a whole show on it, but it's just it's like.
No, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it was a pleasant memory for you, but I had to have that story exclusive here because I've watched crazy movies with my parents before, and by crazy I mean, one oh my God, what was that fucking movie? Billy Bob Thornton. Oh my
Monsters
God.
Ball, Sling Blade.
Sling Blade. Like the ending of Sling Blade, I saw that with my parents. There are some movies I watched with my parents that, had some graphic content in it.
Yeah.
However, going to see I Spit on Your Grave with your mother and father at the rightful age of 7 or whatever, that
5,
that's
6.
crazy, dude. Like the first time I saw I Spit on Your Grave, I remember calling my friends after, just being like, "Yo, like I just want to
I need to
talk
go
to
see a
you."
priest.
I had an exorcism after I saw the film.
Yeah, right.
I had holy water.
I need a shower.
Yeah, I had a shower of holy water.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those movies, it really does make you feel filthy and disgusting. And there is a rape scene in the film that goes on for at least 20 something minutes. It's as
rough.
uncomfortable, as it gets. And like to see that with your parents, man, I could not imagine. Like that and Last House on the Left, I feel like would be the most uncomfortable movies to watch with your parents. Not to mention in the movie theater. I mean, that is wow. Like, man, that is a
Luckily,
crazy.
first time I saw Last House on Your Left, I was probably in my teens or 20s. So
Yeah.
not with mom and dad.
No, that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. That's all I could handle. Like I always remember this film critic. I forget his damn name. I think Kim Newman's his name. He was talking on the Video Nasties documentary, and he said that he was in line in the video store, and this old couple was ahead of him, and they had a 2 for 3 deal or whatever, and he told the wife, he's like, "Go get one more," and she was like, "Look, I got me a horror." And she handed him I Spit on Your Grave. And like, you can imagine a 7-year-old couple watching that fucking movie. Like, I don't think it probably made it too long in the VHS player, but I mean, I don't know. I just love shit like that. And like, your story takes the fucking cake. Oh,
well, yeah, I saw several movies in the theater. Like there was a little theater in my old neighborhood that was like second run. So if it came out in May, you maybe see it in like December or January of the next year. They were like really slow, but it was like 2 movies for $1.75. I saw tons of movies there, like this Empire and Jedi and the Raiders of all kinds of class, Back to the Future, all the shit in the '80s. But there was a couple of ones that I saw, like American Wolf in London.
Wow.
Yeah, the nightmare scene. Nightmares. I was probably 6. I'm pretty sure I saw Happy Birthday to Me at the same theater. Yeah, the scene where she at the end with all the dead people.
Mm-hmm.
The nightmares.
I'm
Dressed
sure.
Dressed to Kill. Michael Caine is the wig. Nightmares. That was another one where
the whole nightmare theme.
Yeah. Pretty much everything I saw in 81 or 81 it was nightmare inducing, and I went back for more.
This is big facts, man. And it's funny. Like I grew up watching movies from that era, but in the mid 2000s. So I suck out The Burning and Halloween 2 and Madman and all these like good 80s slasher movies. And I was kind of raised on that. But another one that like movie wise that really I wanted to talk about a little bit on here, I did it as the thumbnail for the video, was the 1992 movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know a lot of people grew up with the show, and I like the show too. However, I gotta say the movie's probably my favorite thing to do with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I got 2 words for you. There's 2 words. That's the big reason. Kristen Swanson, baby.
Of course, right?
Dude, I'll never forget. My grandfather, he was like a big horror fan, and this was I must have been really small, and he was like, "Oh, I got this horror movie." It was the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. He put it on, and I was actually, now looking back now, it's a very cheesy, fun, goofy movie. Donald fucking Sutherland's in it, like running around, and Christy Swanson. Yeah. Luke Perry, may rest in peace.
Yeah.
It's a goofy movie, but I remember being scared to shitless by it in the prom scene.
Really?
And Yeah, it scared me as a child, and I was just like, man, like, but there's something that kept drawing me back to it, and I think it was, for one thing, the beauty of Christy Swanson, because having her in tight cheerleader outfits and being a kick-ass vampire slayer, at just as a kid, she was one of the first women I ever really noticed like that, and I was just, I was on, like, the girl from part 4 of Friday the 13th, Judy Aronson. She was one. The girl who plays Pam in part 5, she was one where I was just like, oh my god, like, all these beautiful fucking women in these movies, man. I was just like, oh my god, like, that was one big reason that a lot of people, they kind of look at me sideways when I say it's the boobs appeal of horror. Like, I love me some boobs with blood with mayhem. It's those three together. They formalize into the best kind of equation for me, because I'm going to see some good looking women. I'm going to see some fucking crazy ass gore, some kick ass action, and I'm going to have a good time, man. I'm going to eat my popcorn and whatnot. And, like, to me, my grandfather introducing me to that one movie kind of opened my eyes to that field. Like, this is a set type of movie, because there were superhero movies at the time, but these, like, movies like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that was my type of superhero movie. It had it all for me, and that's why it kept me coming back.
Yeah. Did Christy Swanson make you feel kind of funny, like climbing the ropes in gym class?
She made me. Oh my god, dude, so fucking beautiful. She was also in that one with oh god, I think it's Rob Lowe's. I think Chad Lowe. It was called Highway to Hell, and it was her and Chad Lowe, and, like, C.J. Graham plays this, like, monster cop, and, like, he's trying to kill them. I also love that movie as a kid. It's a really goofy one, but it's another one that's a lot of fun, like, just fun, early '90s cheese, man. And I do love me some cheese.
Well, the '90s, yeah, the '90s were a little rougher as far as, like, stuff like that goes, like horror and stuff. That's where, for me, there was some good stuff, but I'm all '70s and '80s, man. I'm my old school.
Oh, me too. I am too. I'm just saying, like, those were the movies that really introduced me to the cheese factor. And I have to ask, what were some of the women that kind of made you, like, open your eyes? I'm sure, because a lot of them for me were, like the Debbie Sue Voorhees in part 5. I remember the first time I saw that movie and her giant titties, I was like, holy shit. Like, when I would rewind that and just sit there in astonishment. I was like, this is fucking incredible.
I think I wanted Jamie Lee Curtis to be my babysitter.
Tuck in.
Yeah. I mean, she's like classic to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, she was. It seemed like in every horror movie when I was a kid.
For real.
Like, how come she's not in this one? What the hell's going on? That's what she needs to do. Like, I mean, forget the Halloween. Just bring her back in some good old school horror,
Or some Trading Places when she shows a little skin.
Yeah.
She didn't show her tits until she went legits.
Hey-o.
Where's Hacksaw at?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So, yeah. Good stuff, man.
She was the one. JLC was the one that kind of got you. That, yeah. See, I'm definitely one of those people. But I gotta ask, getting into more of your memories, was Fulci a part of the childhood, or was that something you've discovered way on later?
No, way later on in life. Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think. I think the first movie I ever saw was Zombie, and that was probably in the '90s. I think I may have been in high school or just out of high school. So, I'm like, what is this? I think I picked up the tape. I'm like, well, this tape looks cool. It's like $5. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah, this is great. So, but no, Fulci was way late in life. But that core, I saw so much shit in, like, when I was a kid. Let me look at my notes.
Sure, yeah, break them out.
Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. That was another one when I was a kid. Remember that one?
I did not see that as a kid. Right? I saw that when I was much older, but that is a phenomenal film, man.
Yeah, because it was a made-for-TV,
Yes. There are a lot of good made-for-TV movies of the 70s like that. Like, that was the best. Yeah.
That was one that made me like cry because I felt bad for him. As a kid, I'm like, oh, why are they picking on him?
Yeah.
But then it scared the shit out of me. Nightmares. when when I got after seeing it. So Dark Knight of the Scarecrow is right up there with all those Happy Birthday to Me's and America What was like. And I finally got it on Blu-ray last year. I'm like, I got to get this movie, and it just brings back memory when he gets buried in the grain.
Oh,
Oh, damn, that shit was scary when you were a kid.
it still is.
Do it. Yeah, it's sad and scary, kind of like maybe like Elephant Man, but that was another one as a kid. Made me sad because they were picking. I guess I just had like a lot of empathy as a kid. I guess I was maybe I was a sweet kid, even though everyone tells me I wasn't.
Kids, see, that's the beauty of being a kid, though. I think is that we are not like kids don't shy away from their emotions. Like if they're scared shitless, they'll physically show that they're scared shitless, and if they feel bad, they'll like tear up. Like I know there's a famous video out there of this little girl watching The Lion King for the first time. And when the dad gets killed, she starts crying, and the dad's like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Oh, Mustafa died." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, but that I feel like at every way of the world that we were all like that at a time too.
Well, that shit was sad.
Yeah, I was. So, I probably cried when I first saw it too. It's makes
Bambi.
Us
come on, like what the hell's going on with Bambi? Like,
holy shit. Dumbo is one of them too. Dumbo, when they throw the fucking peanuts at the mother, bro, I was like, you son of a bitches. Like, don't throw peanuts at this bitch.
So yeah, I guess we were raised right that we have empathy and sympathy for people, shit like that.
Little bodies, big hearts, man.
Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It was a good time though.
Oh my God. I wish there's a part of me always that wishes I could watch things through the eyes of a child. Like I'll be honest, I try my best to, never grow up and never let your heart go sour and all that stuff. Like I always learned that from the Breakfast Club. They always say when you grow up, a part of your heart dies. I love that scene. And I'm just like, that will never happen to me. Like, I don't care if I'm, 60-year-old crab apple. I will still be the same motherfucker. I just probably won't look at the same. But yeah, like I wish that sometimes I could watch movies through the eyes of a child again, like see something for the first time. And there's just so many awesome horror movies like that. Like I'll never forget the first time I watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was a Saturday morning actually, and I bought the DVD. I got the courage up to watch it, and I watched it on a Saturday morning. And I remember every Saturday morning we'd go out like for breakfast, at an IHOP or Friendly's or something. And I watched the film, and it ended, and it was just this absolute astonishment as the film ended and Leatherface did his dance. I remember I didn't say a word. We drove to the place and we sat down, and I didn't want breakfast that day. My stomach had turned, and I was like, that movie actually affected my appetite. And I'm a fat little kid, so to me that was such an eye opener. I was like, Edwin Neal is the hitchhiker, and of course Gunnar Hansen is Leatherface, and Jim Sedow, who's great as the cook. I mean, all of them, they just terrified me in that movie. And it wasn't the gross out stuff. It was the psychological. It was, making fun of Sally Hardesty, and she's screaming and all those close-ups, and you can feel the heat in that room, man. That's one of those movies that physically I remember impacting me. And I was like, wow, man, like I hope there's more stuff out there like this. And to be honest, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's what it is, though. It's lightning in a bottle. There isn't that much like it that works as well as it works. And that was one of those movies that just opened all four of my eyes as a kid, man.
Well, from the opening scene, just the sound of the camera, that was just enough to unnerve you.
Yes.
Like, what the hell was that? Yeah, like what's going on? And then they show at the end, like, on top of the grave. It's like, oh man, I can't remember how I was older. There was like a lull there. It was like 80, 81, and then when I was like 9 or 10, I saw more stuff, and then probably like maybe sophomore in high school, I saw even more stuff. Like that, like sophomore in high school was I was introduced to like Argento and stuff like that. You know, it's Tom Savini, like knowing who, like putting a name to the guy who did all the effects. Did you ever hear of Tom Savini? No. Well, he did this, this, and this. Oh, I know those movies.
Yeah.
This guy's awesome. Like Tom Savini's awesome. I mean, like, I know another level. You went up. You went another World 3, Mario World 3. You know, like another level. Great. So good times, man. I wish I can like bottle that stuff up. You know.
Same. It's almost like I would love to watch it, like just like through, just be like, oh my God, this is when I discovered that Tom Savini was a badass, and this is, when I watched the Sleepaway Camp movies for the first time. Like all these movies, they kind of hold a special place in my heart. And I don't know about you. I wanted to ask you about this because you probably could relate to this even more so than I. Was there ever something that you got where it was like just being excited for a movie for its forbidden factor? Like for me, before I first saw the original Last House on the Left, it was everybody, don't watch it, it's so extreme, and the whole it's only a movie. I remember being terrified to rent the movie and hearing all this stuff, and it was that forbidden factor that made the movie such an experience for me, because I was like, you shouldn't be watching this. I think I was maybe 11 at the time, 11, 12. I remember being like, holy shit, man. Did that forbidden factor ever add to the movie going experience for you?
Shit. I don't, I was never really a risk taker. Still not, it's like, if it was too crazy or heard too much crazy shit about it, I really didn't. I remember maybe Necromantic. I think that one kind of stands out. I watched a little bit of that probably in high school. I'm like, this is just gross. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, I can't do it. Like, probably 1 and 2. I think my friend had made like a comp tape, VHS tape of just kills and stuff from different horror movies. Just whatever, bloody scenes, and that came up. I'm like, what is this? Like Necromantic. I'm like, what is this all about? He's like, oh, check it out. I watched. It's like some of it. Like, this is gross. This ain't for me. I'm like, nah. And I never watched. And some people praise those movies. I'm like, go ahead, have your day. But I'm like, nah, I'm not. I can't do that shit like that. So it was just too weird, too gross.
Yeah, I can understand.
There's not many things that gross me out, and that was probably one of them. That and Hostel. Was it Hostel 2? Like this, Hostel 2 is not that old. I'm like, this is making me uncomfortable, and I don't. Yeah. Me. There's a lot. It takes a lot to offend me or gross me out. But then, there's like those. I'm like, I'm good.
See, I like that though. I like that you draw a line. There's a lot of fans that they won't. They'll just keep going until it's like, August Underground's great, and there are so many movies like that where I'm just like, you like this? Like,
if you like it, God bless you. You have fun with it. But no, I'm gonna. I'm good. I'll watch Human 2 again. I'll watch, Texas Chainsaw Massacre again, or Halloween 3 again. I'm good.
I completely know where you're coming from. But what are some of your other awesome childhood horror movie memories from the notes?
Well, I think I covered the main one, because there's a lot, when you're a kid for sure. But those ones, I think those were the building blocks of what was to come. I remember I never saw it until later in life, but just the picture of the pig with the chainsaw, or Motel Hell, the pig head. Yeah.
Love it.
Nightmares.
That one? See, that one I loved as a kid. I thought it was fun.
Just seeing the picture of it, because I don't think I may have seen like a TV spot for it. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then just seeing the promo shot with I think the one from Fangoria probably. That was enough to freak me out. And I never saw that until later on in life. And then it's actually campy. I never
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is fun. But 6, you're like, this scares the shit out of me.
I love that.
So,
Like the whole where they cut their vocal cords, like all that
yeah,
shit. That always cracked me. And
yeah.
it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent fritters, and meat's meat, man's gotta eat. All the lines in that movie.
And then when you get older, when I saw it later on, I'm like, oh, it's Cliff Clavin is in there from Cheers.
Yeah.
Like holy shit! Like he did stuff before Cheers. Like yeah, he did that. He was in Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, holy shit, Cliff Clavin was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he
you
was
realize
like,
these
he
things
was
afterwards.
35 when he did Cliff Clavin. That's the funny part. I think he was in his 30s when he did when he was Cliff Clavin. Double check that, fact check that if you can.
I will. I definitely will. I will fact check that.
His 30s.
I don't know.
Hair and mustache,
Yeah. The sheriff mustache. Oh my god, dude, I love that shit, man.
Back in the 80s, kids looked a lot older. When if you go through an old yearbook of any high school from the 80s, they look like they're all in their 30s and they're 17.
Yeah. My dad was like had a full grown mustache when he was like 12 and he was smoking. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck?
I still can't grow a mustache.
Me neither. I go peach fuzz around my face. I'm 23. The motherfucker had a full blown mustache. He looked like he looked like he could be my dad then, man. It's so sick.
He may have been somebody. You don't know.
I did. Yes.
You may have a brother or sister out there.
Aiden has a question for you. Did you see Halloween Part 3 Season of the Witch in the theaters? That was around 82 times, so definitely during your youth.
I did not, but I do remember seeing it probably in the 80s for the first time, and I'm like, what is it? Where is Michael Myers? Like, what is this shit? And I didn't like it for sure. I was like, what is? I think, what is this? It's like it's Halloween 3. Where's Michael Myers? And then later on, 20 years later, I had a lot more respect and appreciation for it. Like, I love it now. But when you're a kid and you hear there's a new Halloween movie coming out and you've seen Halloween 1 and I believe I saw Halloween 2 on TV, the old little black and white TV. I'm like, oh, 3. I'm like, it came out probably on video, probably, I would imagine 84, 85. Yeah, Halloween 3. Like, okay, like, where's Michael Myers? Oh, he's on the little TV there for half a second. Like, oh, this is shit. It's like, what is this? So yeah, but no, I didn't get to see it, but I was definitely disappointed by it. But I love it now. The soundtrack, all that, it's great.
I love it. I think Tom Atkins does a great job in it. It's funny. My experience with it, I thought the same thing initially before I saw it. Like I remember someone saying, "Oh, well, Part 3 is not Michael Myers," and I was like, "Huh." And I rented it, and I remember my parents. I solely credit them to this one. Both of them liked the third one the best. My parents, they both liked Part 3 a lot. They were like, they're more of like the supernatural horror film as opposed to a slasher. And they were like, this is the best one. And I was like, this is the best one. And I watched it and I was like, I fucking really liked that. I thought it was interesting. I couldn't understand why it was called Halloween, but at the same time, I kind of opened my mind and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool for what it was. So I always kind of appreciated that film. But I always remember even as I'm sure as when you were a kid, all that you ever heard of that movie was, this is shit, this is trash, don't watch this. Oh, yeah. Isn't that crazy, like looking back now and how well received it is now?
And then learning what the plan was to have like the anthology idea to have a different Halloween and would be a different story, but it only lasted one because everyone was so pissed off because there was no Michael. Like, oh, we'll bring him back for 4. We'll bring him back for 4. So yeah, so.
We'll put him right on the poster and put his name there too.
Yeah, right.
Come back.
Well, we'll put Part 4 out and put the original mask on there to get you all excited, and then you see it's got some shit masks from, dime store. Oh, how about those masks in Part 4 and 5?
Oh my God, yeah, the mask in 4 and 5, especially 5. He looks like a bird in Part 5. It's fucking strange. Like. I'm like,
I think if they took the time to at least dirty it a little bit, it would have helped. But stark, bright white, it's not scary. It's just goofy. Like
Absolutely
crazy
baffling, dude. I
yeah.
I will never. I remember as a kid, even like noticing. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what can they? Could they have not afforded to make the same mask or get something similar? Like, because it sounds like for the cheapest one was the first one. They got the Spock mask or the Shatner mask, the Captain Kirk mask, I should say. Spray painted it white and then they cut the hair and that was it. They couldn't have done that again. Like, what the fuck did they do after that, man? It blows my
Took it
mind.
right off the rack at Kmart and just put it. Here you go. Like,
It's good enough. Put it on.
Do something. Yeah, throw some dirt on it or do something. Like, nah, bright white, like perfect flat. Like, okay, good move. But put the original mask on the box though. They get you all excited. But you know, part 4 is good. I really like part 4. It really puts you in like the fall mood.
Yes,
but
the opening credits of part 4. It's so good. Like the opening credits,
yeah.
I love. Like it's like the orange text, and it's like a farm. I'm like, yo, I'm in Haddonfield right now, motherfuckers. Like, let's fucking go. And I even love the opening scene where that guy is taking them down to where Michael was laying, and he's like, never look him in the eyes, never. Like that guy, I remember as a kid being like, this guy's fucking nuts. Like this guy's seen it all. And I loved like the opening of that movie is so fantastic, as is the finale. I love Halloween Part 4. Like to me, like that's one of those movies that it's a perfect fucking sequel. It really is.
Yeah, actually, it's you probably play that first on Halloween, and then play Halloween on Halloween. You know, like that's like a good warm up for like if you want to watch, you know, to get in the mood.
Yeah, it's like the last one that I think is like a masterpiece. Like the first 4 I really love, and then 5 and 6, and then you know I feel like from there it is what it is. But I don't know. I don't mind. I like part 4.
And the remake is.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, another one I wanted to ask you about because I know we both grew up with the show. And it's funny because we're all these years apart, but the show had a profound impact on scaring the shit out of us. And this show gave me nightmares. Tales from the Dark Side. One of my favorites ever, man. Tell me, what was your reaction to when you first saw that classic legendary intro written by the late, great George Romero?
Nightmares? I didn't watch that show like religiously because I really couldn't make it past the credits because it was on at 10 o'clock at night and both my parents were asleep. And it just freaked out, you know, when just the opening, you know, and then when the thing goes dark, a dark side. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'm putting on Johnny Carson because this sucks. It scared the shit out of me for sure. I guess I was just a big wimp as a kid. I don't know, because I was probably 9 or 10 when that premiered.
That is so
and just watched. Cool. I couldn't get past it. I watched probably a handful of them because just hearing that ding, 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 ding. Like, but you know, as always, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Nightmares.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call you though if I have nightmares.
I'll walk you through.
I need to tap into them because I like watching old shit like this and seeing, you know, actors and actresses or whatever. Like, oh wow, look at that's so and so. You know, 5 years before they did whatever. You know, I get a kick out of stuff like that. So yeah, and I like the cover because what's that little thing name? The Tom Savini one.
Yeah, it's Inside the Closet. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I forgot her name, like Mimi or something like that, or Fluffy or whatever the hell it is.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah, that one scared the shit out of me. That's one of the handful of one I actually saw as it premiered, and it scared the shit out of me. I'm like, what is this? Like,
I remember that is so cool. You saw the premiere. Because this will date myself too. Back in the day when Chiller, you remember Chiller? That was a channel.
I heard of it, yeah.
Well, this was, I mean, elementary school. I would come home. I'd come home and get home like three o'clock, and the show would start right at 3 o'clock. So I'd walk in and I'd take all my
Yeah,
shit off and I'd sit down and bam, Tales from the Dark Side would come on. It was that creepy
yeah,
intro
I
drew
do
me
remember
in.
that now.
And I can
Yeah,
remember there was one episode, there were a couple episodes that scared the shit out of me. One of them was called The Giesen Stacks. And it was this girl, and she gets this little dollhouse, and basically all these dolls have the most like demented looking faces. And like, no normal child would ever play with these dolls. Um, and basically she keeps saying like, oh, the family, they're fighting and all this stuff, and whatever she said about the dolls would come true for their family. Like, oh, mommy Giesenstack fell and broke her arm, and then the mother falls and breaks her arm, and like whatever she says is going on happens. Like, oh, the daddy got a bump on the head. And I remember as a kid being so fucking terrified of this episode. Like, there's just everything about it, the atmosphere, the music, the ending. I won't ruin the ending. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the perfect crescendo. It's the perfect Tales from the Dark Side episode because it had everything. It really had the scare, the music, the tone, the atmosphere, all that stuff. Just nailed it on the head. And there was another one that's got me. It was called The Last Car, and it was this girl, and
okay.
she's heading home on Thanksgiving break. She's coming home from college, and she gets on the last car in this train, and basically every time they go through a tunnel, somebody in the car dies, like in this on this train. And there's an old couple, there's this little kid, there's a conductor, and she basically can't get off this train, and it's like all this shit, and she's waiting for her turn to die. Bro, I mean, when you talk about shit that
Yeah.
scared me, oh, I didn't want to ever get on a train again in my life, bro. I was like, mom, if we go through a tunnel, we're gonna die. And my mom was like, what are you talking about? you know. But this is the shit I remember,
Right.
and to this day, that episode is one of my favorite in the history of television, just because it's so haunting and genius. I wish somebody would try to make that again. Like, it was so fucking awesome, I thought.
What was the name of that one? That episode?
The Last Car, I believe that's a late season
Last
2
Car?
episode.
Okay, I'll have to go right to and the Giesen Stacks,
Geese and Stacks,
right?
yeah. And also a Tom Savini one I could recommend, Family Reunion. That should be on the last disc of the set. Family Reunion, that's the
Okay.
Tom Savini one he directed. It's about a werewolf, and it's absolutely phenomenal. One of Savini's best directed works. Probably my favorite thing he ever directed.
Really? Okay.
It's
I have
awesome.
to, 'cause I don't remember
Tremendous
a lot.
effect.
I only saw a few because,
Yeah.
like I said, I couldn't guess that intro.
That's
That
the
shit
thing though.
scared me,
It got you, and it really it left its mark. And everybody, no matter if you watch the show or not, we both remember that intro and how impactful it is. It's so
man.
simple but so effective.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, music does a lot like that, just
Yeah.
in general.
And
I'm like really into like the music, like I like soundtracks and stuff like that. I just really it just puts you in the mood and certain ones, man. It's like it's great.
100%. I know you're big like Suspiria and Fabio Frizzi, like Goblin, like those are some of your favorite soundtracks, right?
Yeah, I like those. Yeah, I was actually listening to them today.
AJ has all these awesome vinyls. Oh my
I
god,
got
they're
a
so
couple.
cool.
Yeah.
He plays them during the trivia. It's actually the coolest thing ever. I'm jealous. You make me want to go buy one.
Well, I think I got a couple of them just off of I don't know if they were just in. I think that probably the Blu-rays of there's a couple that came out with the Blu-rays special edition Blu-rays. A couple and
Mhm.
the have you gotten the Ebon Press stuff yet? Have you checked that
No,
out?
but you told me about it, and I definitely want to get it. I mean, that stuff's incredible.
There's a couple of ones that came with soundtracks, so it's like I don't have a record player, and I know if I did, I'd probably get into a lot of trouble. You know, because there's so much cool shit out there. But that stuff is I like the cheapest way to go for me right now is those. So it's good stuff
100%. Yo,
because a lot of
absolutely.
it's not available streaming or just regular buy the CD or anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely should try to get into that because like I'm a big fiend for horror soundtracks. Like I would get all the Argento ones. I get Phenomena and Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Tenebrae, I watched that the other night. That is one of the most incredible soundtracks. Like I love Goblin score in that movie. It's like it makes the
Yeah.
film
I mean,
almost, and it's just it's
and
absolutely
there's
awesome.
I forgot. I'm trying to think of some of the names of the record companies. I can't think about. But if you look, I mean, they're nice. They got a lot of them, but it's like it's probably better off I don't have a record player right now because I have a big stack of them.
Yeah,
They're not cheap, you know. They're like 20, 30, $40 a soundtrack. So
you'd be splurging like crazy, man.
yeah, I've splurged enough in my life, I think. And so
I'm
good
probably
stuff
right
though.
there with you.
Yeah. So the,
Uh,
the, cheaper, the cheaper way to find it, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Us horror fans like to splurge though, because this is what we do.
Especially if it's nice, because a lot of them are nice. I'll have to show you the one that I got. Just I got a couple just because they look so nice, and maybe one day I'll get a record player, you know. But and they're real sweet looking. They're really they're horror fans that take the time to put a little extra effort into it. So it's worth an extra couple bucks. But right now it's just something to look at, or maybe have someone sign one. Like that's why I kept on my laser disc. They make nice. They're big, so that you sign. You know,
That's awesome,
I
man.
have what's her face, Nancy Loomis signed my Halloween laser disc, and what's her face, Linda Blair signed my Exorcist laser disc, and they're all framed and they look real pretty. So
That's so cool, man.
yeah, a
Blair
lot
and
of them.
Loomis.
Sometimes I think it's a soundtrack. I'm like, no, it's a laser disc. You remember those? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. But do you have any more awesome childhood memories that you wanted to discuss here?
Um, right off the bat, no. I mean, we can just talk for hours about stuff, but just those ones when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Those are the ones that really stuck with me because it's, I don't know, is it
No,
your
I feel you.
developmental years or just shit that sticks with you? I don't know, man. Just
Burns
really
burns
stuck.
the memory. It burns the memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Like Halloween 2, Buffy the Vampire Slayer from the early 90s, that Carrie poster. These are just some of the memories I have from walking up and down the video store aisles. And I don't know, there is something nice to stroll back down memory lane and think of those times when I rented the original Friday 13th and Mrs. Voorhees was decapitated and I ran around and
Yeah.
cheered and celebrated. And there's something magical about that. I don't do that anymore, even if I really like a movie. You know?
Well, at least you were old enough to experience the video store. You
Yeah.
know.
Wow, man. Isn't that crazy that there are people that never got to experience it. All they do is stream and shit. Like, it's not the same. It's not. Like, there was something about, even if I didn't rent something, like seeing Child's Play 3 or Child's Play 2, and like I was like, oh my God, like he's gonna chop up that Jack in the Box's head. Like, there was just something about it that just made me go, oh my God, that looks like a crazy movie, but I'm not ready for that yet. There
Right.
was something about it to go and explore. And another one was The Hills Have Eyes for me. Just that cover and that tagline, a nice
Well, yeah.
American family that didn't want to kill, but they didn't want to die.
Right.
I remember being like, I have to see this. And I rented it and I was like, this is fucking great stuff. And then that's what opened the door for Wes Craven. Then I see Nightmare. Then I saw Last House. Then I saw Scream, like these video stores really helped open the doors for me. And it sounds like it's the same thing for you, where Jamie Lee Curtis introduced you to all these, early 80s slashers. And then that probably opened the door for you to see My Bloody Valentine and The Prowler and The Burning and Madman and all these great
Sure.
80s slasher films. It kind of makes you grow as a film watcher.
And the lost art of box art. I mean, how many shitty movies did you see because the art was so cool?
Yes,
And
that's
there was
true.
so many movies I didn't see, but I remember the box. There's actually, I don't know if you ever saw this book.
Oh, I'm not. That's awesome, though.
It's really cool. There's it's boxed, it's art, but it's like there's action and comedy, but there's a nice chunk of horror, and I think a lot of it's from like England or the UK. But they show you the box art and the back cover. It's a really cool book, and someone like me who likes just looking at old shit, the horror section is really cool. So you might want to check. I think it's still available. I think I got it on Amazon. VHS. It's just VHS video cover art. It's a really cool book. I don't even think it cost that much. Keep the
I may have to get it. That's awesome, man.
But yeah, they got action and comedy and martial arts and stuff, and even that's because some of them are just so shitty looking. Like this, like TNT Jackson. I mean, I could have drawn that,
What?
But you might want to check out it. It's a really cool book if you want to get nostalgic, and because you probably didn't get to see a whole lot of stuff because going to the video store in probably the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I would imagine, right? Was that one? Yeah. I remember going to Blockbuster, and it was like, where are all the good movies? Like, it's all shit from the 2000s.
Where are all the good movies?
Where's the grindhouse stuff? Where's the 70 exploitation? No, they didn't carry any of that stuff at Blockbuster. But check that book out if it's available. I highly suggest that book.
Oh, for sure, man. I totally will. Yeah, and I'm a big box cover guy, like maniac. When I saw it, I had to see the movie. Same thing with Sleepaway Camp 2, with the hot chick, Freddy's glove, Jason's mask, Leatherface's chainsaw. I'm going camp. Yeah. I was like, oh my god! And this one, of course, I have the one sheet of this one of Sleepaway Camp Part 3. I saw big titties. I saw blood. I saw the awesome tagline of "She's back" to slash last year's record. When I saw that, couldn't pass. I mean, I grew up on those Sleepaway Camp sequels too. I just absolutely adored every minute of them. The comedy, the box cover art, like that's some of my essential favorite movies just because of that.
I remember Sleepaway. The first, I didn't really see the sequels until later on, but the first one I saw pretty young, and that was a pretty good talk in the schoolyard. It's like, did you see Sleepaway Camp? Like, no, it's the girl at the end. She's got a wiener. It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah. Like, oh my god. Like, right? We'll check it out.
I remember when I first saw it, I made it the talk of not my schoolyard, but I remember going into homeroom, and I just had to smile. Yeah, oh my god, no, thankfully not. I remember sitting down and being like, people were like, oh, what'd you do this weekend, Grande? And I was like, oh man, I seen a crazy flick last night, man. It's called Sleepaway Camp. And I told them, the entire movie, and the one guy got the bee stings while he was taking a shit, and the girl gets stabbed in the shower, and they were cracking up because they don't see any of these movies. And I was just like, and at the end, the reveal is that the shy chick, she had a big green penis. And everybody fucking at the table just started laughing, and we were like, "Oh my god, what?" And I was like, "I swear to God," and just the bizarre looks that people gave me. I was just like, "You guys are the ones missing out, not me." I mean, this is a fucking classic.
Did you go home like me, and you were like, "Mom, how come girls don't like me?"
do girls
what am I doing wrong?
Do girls? All girls have green penises? I was
but I remember that was a talk in schoolyard. I'm like, oh, okay. And you mentioned Maniac before. Maniac, that was another one I rented very young, with watching with my mom and dad in a room.
Jesus Christ, bro! What the fuck? I could never watch that with my parents.
Oh well. Wow. I think there was probably more violence though, in that than sex stuff, right?
Well, I mean more like scalping women and shit. Like I couldn't imagine watching that with my mom.
Yeah, my mom was just grossed out by it. But if nudity came on the scene, that's when the thinking. But yeah, or when she got through the back,
See, it's funny. My parents never cared what I watched. They never ever like they never said you can't watch this. Now I did like I would bring home these crazy movies and I just watch them by myself and I just be like, oh my god, and my parents would just look at each
Yeah.
other like, you probably
Later
shouldn't be
on, yeah.
watching this. You know?
Later on, yeah, because I was pretty young when I'd have like I'd get like an allowance, and I sound like an old man. I'd get on my bike, I'd get like a $5 allowance, and there was a little greasy spoon on the corner. I'd get myself a fish sandwich that was like I think $2, and then I'd go to the video store, and they'd have like dollar rentals, and I'd rent like a goofy, gory movie or two, and that was how I spent my allowance after probably buying GI Joes,
Wow.
beforehand. Yeah.
That is so cool. See,
I'm
isn't that
old.
great that you can remember like the exact amount
Yeah.
and that you bought a fucking fish sandwich at the like I love stuff like that. Like that's
But
at that time in your life that was an essential a great night
yeah,
for you. And same thing with me. Like I remember getting a couple movies on a Friday night, getting a pizza. I think that's one thing that the people will get robbed of with not having the video store is it was almost like a night out, even though it was a night in. Like,
yeah,
like let's go, let's explore, let's rent a couple flicks, let's get some popcorn, let's bring home a pizza, let's have the family over, let's watch a crazy fucking flick, and that's it. And then Saturday and Sunday I could do whatever I wanted, but it was just something that it was a night. You went out and you did something, came home and did the rest.
yeah.
But now it's almost too easy to just do this, like it's just I don't know. There's no
Yep.
sense of accomplishment.
You don't even have to go out for food anymore. You can just order it online, and someone will bring
Yeah.
it to you.
I'll DoorDash, like I'm lazy, but how lazy can you fucking get at that point? You know what I mean? Like it's just
I need a milkshake. Can I get a milkshake? All right, milkshake.
fish sandwich, please.
Yeah, right. But like I said, though, you asked me what I had for dinner Monday. I can't tell you.
Yeah. But it's that memory that, of going
When you're
up to the
young,
corner and spending this money wisely, the five. See, that's crazy to me too, hearing that. Like mine was back in the day, I would go to the mall in like elementary and middle school, and my parents would give me a $20 bill for a weekend, and I had to stretch that out and be like, all right, I want to eat at Wendy's, but I might want to buy something at Walmart. I might want to go to Suncoast and buy a movie. Like it was so funny how simple life was, and they were my own personal taxi service. Like I'd be like, all right, time we want to get picked up now. Like when you grow up and you get a license, that's it. Like you drive
yeah,
yourself places, and I don't know, like it's just it's crazy. Growing up sucks,
and
doesn't it?
yeah, sure does. Just wait. You got a long way to go.
It's true. I
I
do.
remember like the video stores or Walmart or whatever have the video treasures VHS for like $4.99 and pick up a couple of goofy movies. I think that, like I said, I think that's where the first time I saw Zombie was was there a video treasures edition of Zombie? There probably was, right, or something like that, or
I would think so. Yeah.
yeah, or
I never saw
those
it,
are
but
the
I'm sure that it exists.
yeah. I see the box. I just can't remember if it was Video Treasures or who was the other big one? Anchor Bay. That was another big one back in the day. So, and they were cheap on VHS. So that was a good time when I got older. So make that money stretch, man. Especially malls. Malls. Go to Saturday matinee. Did you have Saturday matinees by you? The video
Never.
store. I think it was
No.
probably like a Suncoast or any of that shit. That was my jam. Get a pretzel and buy a couple of shitty movies for $10 and go home and watch them.
That sounds so nice. That's the life.
You're going on 80 right now. Are you an old soul?
But hey man, that's the beauty of going down memory lane. Like you do remember weird shit like that. Like I'll never forget. I remember getting Wendy's at the mall. I was a mall rat. Like have you ever seen Mallrats from Kevin Smith?
Oh fuck yeah! I saw it at the theater.
Oh wow, that's fucking incredible to me.
I saw it at the theater, and it was opening weekend, and there was like 8 people in the theater, and of the 8, I think 6 was in our group. It was gone like within a week at the theater, from what I remember.
See, it's funny, like
Yep.
that was my middle school, like that movie, and that's why it's one of my favorite movies. That one, it came out before I was even alive, put it to you that way. That's how fucking young I am.
Sure did.
Yeah. Like that movie was my life at the time. I remember I spilt orange soda on fucking Dee Snider's mom. That happened. Yeah. Like I'm in the food court and I spilt the soda. Like I'm walking to the thing and it was a giant ass fucking soda. It tilted over right onto this poor lady's table. And you know, I helped her clean it. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And for some reason, she decided to tell me I'm Dee Snider's mom. I don't know if it really was Dee Snider's mom, but I take her word for it. I spilled Fanta all over the poor soul. So,
well, are you in? You're in New York, right?
Yes, sir.
I think that's probably right. Well,
I remember telling my friends, I was like, that lady said she's Dee Snider's mom, and they were like, no. And I was just like, I would love if I ever met Dee Snider, I would ask him. I'd be like, did anyone ever spill orange soda on your mom? Because I was that guy.
I wish I knew this story when I met him. I would have been like, hey, you remember your mom ever telling me this is some kid that's because I did meet him last year or 2 years ago. He was awesome.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. And I think actually when we saw him, I think his mom either was really sick or just passed away when we saw him.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's
I think something happened. I want to say she got hit. She get hit by a car or something crazy like that. You have to check it out. Something happened to her, and it was kind of tragic. And because of what happened, she eventually passed away. If I remember correctly.
That's so sad. She was the sweetest lady. I mean, she wasn't mad at all. I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I was a little kid. I felt terrible. And I remember she was like, don't worry about it. I'm Dee Snider's mom. And I was like, what? Like, I'll never forget that as long as I live. Like, I don't know, but like if I ever meet Dee Snider, I will absolutely ask him. I'll be like, this is going to sound very fucking odd, but did anyone ever spill Fanta on your mom? Because that guy was me. Yes.
I'm gonna get my son after you.
He'd just be like, I'm too old to take care of you, but my son kicking your ass.
Kick your ass. Wow, that's a cool story.
Yeah, I swear that happened. A fucking weird story, but like, and I remember my friends that night were like, "What?" And I was like, "Dude, I swear to God, that's what she told me."
Trying to think, I don't think I have anything that cool.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's a story I bring up to you because you know who Dee Snider is. People around here, they don't know. Like, I don't know about by you, but like people by me, they're really not that into it, like horror fan wise. Like, I'll show them these movies. Like, there are people that are casually into it, but like you and me, like diehard into it, they just don't really exist by me.
I haven't met them yet, but they show up at the convention, so there must be. The conventions are pretty crowded around here, but I don't know. I talked to a couple people that live around here, but I think Texas seems to be a big horror state.
Yeah. And it's like I usually go to Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, which is like right outside Philly. And like that's where you'll definitely see the most diehard fans. But it's just like around me, it feels like I'm the only one, like, especially out of kids my age. Like they come in this room and they're like, what the fuck is Sleepaway Camp 3? And I'm just like, this is the room where the magic happens, good brother.
Yeah. Did I walk in and be like, he's got a framed Sleepaway Camp 3 poster? Like,
and a signed Amy Steele April Fool's Day poster.
Oh, see? Amy Steele, she's on my list. And Adrian King. Someday.
Sweetest lady. Amy Steele was so sweet to meet in person, man. When you meet her, it was so cool. And her daughter is like her agent. And the daughter looks just like her when she was in her 20s and 30s or whatever. And I was like, you look just like your mom. I was like, you should be a scream queen. She was like, nah. She goes, I'm good being her agent. And I started laughing. I was like, that's so fucking cool. Like,
that's wild. Did you get her number?
I probably should have, right? And been like, yo.
Tell her you got a YouTube channel?
Oh my God. Yeah. Subscribe. Oh my God. Dude, I would kill to marry anyone with the last name Steele. Like, that is the coolest shit ever. Like,
Well, I mean, you got a pretty cool. That is your last name, right?
Grande is my
It's
last
not
name.
short
Yes, sir.
It's not short for something.
It is not.
You got like a ready-made porn name.
I do. It's the perfect. It's actually kind of insane. Like, people, like, they're just like, that's really, and I'm like, yeah, like, it's my name is a nickname. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. I always love,
Yeah.
I remember in baseball, like, Grande, Grande Slam, all this stuff. Like, it always factored in somehow, like, if I was a wrestler, I'd be the Grande, or something like that, or Pajama Pants Playa, all this stuff, all these stupid fucking nicknames. They never get old. Did I ever tell you that story, the Pajama Pants Playa story?
I don't think so.
Oh, no? Oh, you'll love this. I remember me and I will change the names of people to protect their identities. The people
okay.
Yeah. But I was definitely I was stoked. It was like a Friday. It was in high school, and I'm leaving gym class, and I'm sweaty. Like, it was ninth period gym, and my buddy Jonathan and I, who that's actually his real name, he's not one of the people I need to protect his name. We got tacos. This place called Taco Joe's. Fucking devoured. I must have like 8 or 9 like little soft shell. I just popped them in, man. Delicious. I smelled like shit. I smelled like, delicious tacos and sweat because I'm coming from ninth period. Yeah, I smelled like $1 million. And I remember we got back to his place, and like his girlfriend at the time, they were throwing this big party, and she was like, "Tell Grande to come." And he was like, "Really?" He was like, "You know him?" And she was like, "No, but one of my girlfriends really likes him." And I was like, "What?" So we go to this party, and I am not dressed for a party. Like, I'm in like a sweatshirt and pajama pants, and I smelled to hell. So I'm sitting there with all these fucking preps, these New York preps, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm eating the chips. Like, for parties by me, they put out chips for show. Like, no one eats the chips. They're just my fat ass. This girl comes up to me with the nicest, tightest leather pants. And she goes, "Hi," and I won't say her name, but she was like, "I'm the one that wanted you to come." And this girl, total 11 out of 10. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Wow. You were the one. And she was like, "Yeah, this is lame. We should go upstairs." And I was like, "We should go upstairs?" Like, I am in heaven. And I'm like, what the fuck? So we go upstairs and we get in this hammock.
Take a shower.
Yeah, we get in this hammock, and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I'm about to get lucky in a hammock right now. I'm in pajamas. I remember we spent that whole night like in the hammock, and I remember my buddy Nick, he was like, "Bro, from now on, you are the Pajama Pants Player." Like, and I was like, yes, like, that is too funny, because I fucking picked up a total 10 girl with pajamas on. It was really funny, man. It was the best of times. I remember trying to like hold my boner down in the pajamas, and like, that is not easy to do. Like, you need to be wearing jeans. But it was one of my
Don't
favorite.
Forget you're live now. You can't edit that out.
No. Yeah, I remember that was at the school the next week. I was the Pajama Pants. People were like, "Pajama Pants Playa, how was it?" And I was like, wow. What? I was like, how did that catch on?
You gotta get a shirt made with that now.
I do. My friend maybe one that senior year. It says Pajama Pants Playa since '96. It's so cool.
You gotta wear that shirt, man.
Oh, that was a classic. That was one of my favorite. I love how this is delved into Grande, the miniseries. Like,
behind the music.
Behind the mask.
Oh, good, man. It's fun.
Dude, always.
Yeah, right. Cool, man. Well, this is fun, man. I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, man. Hey, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. This was a really fun time strolling down memory lane with you and hearing some of your kind of childhood horror memories, my childhood horror memories. And what's funny? It's that they weren't too far off, even though we grew up in completely different times. It's absolutely amazing that we kind of grew up with some of the same films and grew to love these movies and are diehard horror fans to this day because of them. It's actually kind of mind blowing.
Horror is timeless.
It is timeless, man, and we are living proof of that. But yeah, man, I want to say thank you so much for coming on. You're always more than welcome to come back if there's ever a movie. If you wanted to talk some Fulci, like if you ever want to do a Fulci discussion, I would love to do that. Like talk. I have not talked zombie on the channel, so
Really?
I have not.
All
I've
right.
not reviewed zombie. So if I ever was, I would love to review it with you.
Give me a holler, man. I'm here.
Dude, totally. Alrighty though. Thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate the support. Oh yeah, cheers with the cherry cola. You'll have to give me the deets on that, of course, after we're off the air. But yes, thank you everybody. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Happy Friday tomorrow. Happy opening day of baseball. I'm a big baseball guy. I don't know if you are, but I am stoked. My Mets are back in action. They're probably gonna stink, but it's all right. I at least have something to watch now. But that is going
I'll
to be
be sporting a special shirt for it, so I'll be sporting it tomorrow. I'm not huge into it, but my wife got me a special shirt for opening day.
I'll be rocking some Met stuff to work. You know it. But yes, that is going to be all for the show tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. I will be back next week. I don't know what the topic is going to be yet, but when I do know, you will all know. So thank you all for watching. I am John Grande. He is AJ Zetro, and you have been watching Grande's Graveyard.
Put your pants back on!
For life, brother.